We'll see if it drops again. We may have to switch servers. That might be an issue. But anyway, hopefully it's back for you guys. We'll welcome back you to the Heroes of the Storm Road to BlizzCon and North American qualifier. This is the qualifier for July, and it looks like our draft is underway. Looks like the number is 17009. I'm going to hop over to that. We once again have Zeveron, and this time they're going to be up against Just Do It, who I do believe is LZ Gamer's team.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's exciting.
It is. We're going to be on Sky Temple for our first battleground. So that is going to be fun. We got to see it once already. We're going to see it again. So far we're seeing some bans on some melee assassins. We've got Zeveron and the Butcher out of the fight, as well as Abathur too. So Zeveron has Jaina, Tron, and Uther. It makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder if Just Do It has seen what Zeveron has been using in their compositions. I'm thinking no.
Yeah, I mean, Kael'thas Johanna is nothing to sneer at, though, in terms of first picks. It's very possible that Just Do It has something else up their sleeve and is not too concerned about what Zeveron has planned.
I kind of wonder if they're thinking as Brodan, actually. But the lanes are so far apart, it'd be tough for stacks.
Yeah, this is the biggest map that we have. I believe still bigger than Battlefield of Eternity, right?
Yes, it is the biggest battleground. Battlefield of Eternity is 2 lanes, but it just has a giant space in the middle. So this one definitely takes the cake in terms of size. It's ginormous.
Right. So a little bit harder to move someone like Asbro between those lanes for sure. But like you were mentioning, Gilly, if you guys haven't been watching us before, Zeveron has been playing here with us for a few games, and they've had this just massive stun slow composition where every single member of the team is good at getting somebody held down and melting them to death. So Just Do It, whether they know that or not, is instead going for Kael'thas, one of the heaviest burst damage dealers, especially in the late game. Johanna, one of those oh, okay, yes. I was going to say one of those heroes that we've also seen Zeveron use alongside Kerrigan, but it looks like Just Do It is going to steal her out from under Zeveron, which makes me think that, yes, they are familiar with what Zeveron might have been doing.
What I kind of want to see now, they can't really. I would have loved to see Zeveron just pick up Rhaegar. Because then Just Do It, yes, they would have so much damage, but then they would not be able to keep them alive, really. I mean, you'd have to choose between Lily and Brightwing. So it's not going to probably be what they do because they have Tron and Uther, but the Kerrigan has been stolen out from under them, right? The idea is that the last 2 picks here for Zeveron would be Kerrigan and Arthas, and it's not going to play that way. And it also won't be the Butcher, it won't be Zeratul because all those melee assassins are gone. So now we're looking at Muradin. They're changing it up a little bit. They're going to go even more stun heavy with Muradin, Uther, and Tyrande now to deal stuns. Jaina to be able to slow on top of that. Who will they pick for their last damage dealer, though, Anna?
They really would like a Kerrigan here, and like you mentioned, the pickings are a little bit slim. They do need someone who's got good burst, though. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Vala. I suppose, I mean, I'm kind of a Draken Laser Drill fangirl, especially on Sky Temple, so we could also maybe see that. What do you think about a Falstad pick?
I really like Falstad on Sky Temple because he has that mobility, he has that map presence, but it will be the Vala, so they really want to just have that very consistent, steady, sustained damage. So now they've really got the burst, and they've really got Tyrande, who's going to be able to amplify the damage that they do with that Hunter's Mark, but then they're also going to have Vala, who can continually throw out damage, maybe going for the multi-shot build, as it will do a bunch of damage to multiple members from Just Do It. We'll have to see what they choose to focus on, as there's a few different ways to build Vala. Just Do It are going to need a support. I would think it would be Rhaegar here, unless they've really got something up their sleeve. They seem to be considering. Nope, it is him.
Yeah, I think that's a smart pick, especially with Kerrigan. She often needs that ancestral heal. And of course, with Kael'thas as well, he really needs to be kept alive, so you need a strong healer, not just a shielder, or, you know, you need to be able to direct your heals as well, which is kind of the problem we saw with Lily, where, yes, she has healing, but you can't decide which member of your team will get that healing. She kind of just heals whoever is closest to her, or who needs it the most, rather.
Yeah, looks like we will have the Rhaegar who will be able to use the Ancestral Healing for Maelstrom should Kerrigan get low while she's using that in the middle of Zeveron's forces. But it's not quite, it's not quite the same as that Divine Shield. The Divine Shield is it's instant. And the Ancestral Healing has a little bit of a wind-up time where it's possible if they can really focus their damage down, they can take the target of the Ancestral Heal out before it ever would be able to get off. I think the stream's up. I'm gonna switch over to the game screen so that we can check that really fast.
Yeah, it looks to be working for me.
All right. Well, sorry it went down earlier, guys. My obs, I think, just got a little overloaded. Sometimes it kind of freaks out when I go a long time before switching scenes and then try to switch in the scene. It's like, wait a second, what are you doing? But we're all good. We're ready to go. We're ready to see these two teams duke it out. Looking at the two different compositions, what do you think so far from these teams? Is there any certain one that you favor?
Well, I think Zeveron certainly didn't get the exploitative composition that they had in the last two games we watched that was just kind of this devastating amount of control. But I still think their composition accomplishes many of the same things. They're certainly able to stun and hold somebody in a position and then use burst damage to burn them down. You still have the slows from Jaina. You still have the stuns, of course. And I think Vala fills the hole nicely of what was left there from the damage they would have liked to do with Kerrigan. So I certainly don't think they were denied anything super important. That said, I don't think either that Just Do It was left behind in that draft. I think they got a lot of what they wanted. I think having the Rhaegar, like you said, kind of Zeveron would have liked to deny that Rhaegar, and that would have been a huge handicap. But because of where they were positioned in the draft, they were not able to take that away. So I think that's exactly who they wanted for a healer. I think that the, like I said, the Johanna Kerrigan together is really, really fun. And when you're dealing with a small area that all of your team members are trying to stand on, some of my favorites, of course, are the Condemn into Maelstrom, like the Blinding Shield or the Blessed Shield, like you were mentioning, also combined with the Maelstrom. So a lot of the heroic synergy could be really good for Just Do It. So all in all, the TLDR is that I like that these compositions are pretty well balanced in terms of what they're going to be good at.
Yeah, Zeveron, I don't think is going to have quite an easy time, and already we're seeing that in the draft with this team, or with Just Do It, as they have maybe with teams in the earlier rounds of the draft, and I think their competition will continue to get more intense. If the draft falls the way it very well could, they will be going up against Cognitive in the next one as well. I think it's either Cognitive or Complexity now. I'm going to check that out really fast. Either one would be a big one they've played against before, but of course would be very stiff competition. But we will introduce them. They are playing in blue. It's Zeveron with Equinox on Tyrande, Mad Timmy playing Uther, Faye this time on Jaina, Cawthon Luck playing Vala, and Fury will be playing that Myrddin.
And for Team Just Do It, who's going to be wearing red, a good old StarCraft 2 Evil Geniuses friend of mine, LZ Gamer. Killick, or LZ Gamer will be on Rhaegar. Killick will be on Johanna. Basics will be on Kael'thas. Sunshine will play Zagara. And Haunwen will play Kerrigan.
So we mentioned before, of course, the first two temples that spawn on this battleground will be mid and top, and so we generally see each team put most of their heroes up in that region, with just generally one to soak down in the bottom. Having Sunshine in the bottom, I think, is a definite boon for them, as she can already start to drop some creep, get some vision around that bottom temple, which will come in handy later. She can also get a pretty good push going, too. Maybe even, if she's lucky and left alone, start taking down some of those structures, which would then kind of open up for more damage from the temple if they can take it later on.
We definitely see these teams making sure, when they're really on top of it, making sure that the mercenaries that they grab on this battleground particularly also complement the temple phases. Maybe not in this early one where we'll see the top and bottom, but especially be looking for that in the next temple phase. As you will need to see pushing happening probably in the top lane while they're busy with that bottom temple. In the meantime, Kerrigan did go down. Sorry I was talking during that, Gilly. That's all right. I think Zeveron's a little angry that Kerrigan was stolen out from under them, and they're going to compensate by taking her out as the first blood of this game.
They're also going to pick up this top temple. Meanwhile, it looks like we're seeing a trade, at least initially, with Just Do It grabbing the mid. Both teams have a hero in bottom soaking, so unlike the last game where we saw a team pull ahead, I think that was actually Zeveron, because they had somebody in the bottom while also holding a temple, it does seem like for now we're going to have the teams just really trading out here.
You do have a little bit of an experience lead on the side of Zeveron, probably thanks to that takedown and a little bit better soaking. But both teams at level 4 and are grabbing more and more talents.
Equinox is going to come in here. Killick has got a great condemn though, but Equinox is doing some serious damage with Faye to that Kerrigan and will be able to take her out. So far they're having kind of a difficult time keeping her alive, as we do have 3 very squishy heroes with only 1 healer in Rhaegar, so it really comes down to making sure that they can zone effectively with that Johanna, using the condemn to keep heroes off of those squishy heroes, and so far it's been a little bit difficult.
Yeah, it definitely has. I think that Kerrigan is such a strong hero, and theoretically she can kind of take care of herself with her shields, but from the experience of playing her, I feel like she's never very effective when she's alone. She really needs to be with a healer or a tank, or at least someone she can kind of trade leapfrog with, you know. So I think that it'll be important from now on, if Just Do It doesn't want to lose Kerrigan, to keep her with somebody else.
Yeah, and with that, we have Kael'thas by himself, and he does go down, and now there's a really big push on top for Zeveron, as they're about to take out this fort already, thanks to the fact that it was softened up by that temple. So now they've picked up their level 7 talents, and looking at the talents, I want to point out that Zeveron knows where their strengths lie. Right now, they are the sustainable team, and they're keeping it that way with 2 protective shields, 1 from Tyrande and 1 from Uther. So they're going to have the sustainability, they're going to be able to last longer in the fights, and it's going to be up to Just Do It to try to quickly take somebody down with that Kerrigan-Kael'thas combination before that sustainability can really take hold.
Yeah, and they definitely don't want to be in this position where they're responding to what Zeveron is dictating for the game. So we see them looking for advantages they can take to give themselves some room. They are going to take the bruisers up here at the top. LZ Gamer is going to be sniffing around to see if he could get some answers from Faye. We see the Sentinel go by searching for him. He's not able to be too stealthy. They are going to clear out that top lane in anticipation of the fact that that bottom temple should be spawning fairly soon.
Yeah, we're going to see both teams picking up the bruisers. I mentioned that teams really like to grab these before rotating to that bottom temple, because it does mean that you've got a nice little push happening in one lane while you might be able to grab a temple and have a good push in another. So Faye's going to clear out these bruisers. That means that the bruisers for Zeveron are going to be able to push, but it does also mean that they're a little bit late into the rotation. So Just Do It for now are holding on to this temple. It's going to start doing damage to the structures of Zeveron, but Zeveron are going to start to rotate down and maybe able to move in here. They do have a level lead, so if they could get experience, maybe scare Just Do It out, then that would be one way to go, ending up trading very well thanks to that great push on top and getting some of the shots from the temple on bottom.
Looks like we saw the beginnings of a retreat from Just Do It, but they decided to turn around and fight. Killick with the condemn is going to try to get all the damage in one place, but unfortunately Kerrigan is not there to capitalize on it as she does go down. We see Fury having to retreat, being very, very low. Killick leading the charge with Just Do It is going to take out Uther. Looks like we now have a 4-on-4 situation, and looking like Zeveron is still willing to try to engage.
Wow, I cannot believe the protective shield that went down on Fury. He was so close to being taken out and just barely hung in thanks to a really great protective shield. So now because of that, Zeveron have picked up their heroic abilities. They're going to get the rest of the shots here on the bottom temple. They went ahead and got Starfall, which we are going to really love seeing around those temples, as well as the Avatar, Divine Shield, Water Elemental, and then Rain of Vengeance from Fallen.
Indeed we are, Gilly, but we also have level 10 just now popping for Just Do It. They will be picking up their heroic abilities. It looks like we'll see Blessed Shield, Phoenix, Devouring Maw, Maelstrom, and Ancestral Healing. So probably what we expected here. Yeah,
both sides pretty normal, with the exception maybe of the the Rain of Vengeance instead of Strafe, but they're really going to be able to combo a lot of those stuns, and they already have a bunch, so it's going to be really nice if they can throw that down, and then from that, throw a lot of Jaina's abilities down on those who are stuck in the Rain of Vengeance. She even picked up Snowstorm at level 4, so that's going to increase the radius of that blizzard, which is going to be very nice around those fights on the temples. But another engagement going down. Fury's going to jump in. A lot of stuns going down on Kael'thas, who's instantly melted. The Devouring Maw is going to pull in 2 members of Zeveron. The rest of the team's going to move back a little bit. They've done what they needed to do. They took out Kael'thas. They've created a power play for themselves, and it looks like they might be headed for boss.
That would be a little bit risky still. They do have Kael'thas down, but there are still 4 members of Just Do It, and we know how this boss is so easily stolen out from under. It looks like Zeveron's not willing to take the full risk, maybe just trying to get a bait on Just Do It. Just Do It not responding quite to that tantalizing little bit of bait there. But we will see the siege can't be taken by Zeveron. They're going to fall back and take the other advantages that are available on that side of the map.
Yeah, both teams, in fact, choosing to spread back out, try to continue to get some of that lane experience, maybe get a little bit of a push going, and not letting the other one get too far, too close to the structure. So really great job by them. Zeveron still holding the experience lead. They've still got about a level on their opponents, and at 13 we will see another talent tier come down. But before that, we're going to have 2 more temples spawn, and it looks like they will be the top and bottom.
Yeah, nobody in position to grab the temples just yet. They will activate right now, and no one is quite standing on them. It looks like Zeveron has the advantage in terms of zoning out this bottom temple, but there are 4 of them down here, and that's going to leave the top one pretty wide open for the 3 members of Just Do It that are up here.
Yeah, it looks like the teams are going to trade, and Zeveron is going to be really happy with that at this point because they already had a fort down, so it favors them. Both are going to choose to push with their temples, so that way they can save as many of the laser shots as they possibly can to start going on some of the other structures. So we're going to see that bottom fort go down on the side of Just Do It. Similarly, up top, we should see that one go down on the side of Zeveron. Both teams getting some experience from that, but Zeveron are the ones who have started to get their level 13 talents.
Those level 13 talents, how are they looking, Gilly? What are we seeing there? Anything unusual?
We've got the Frost Shot from Vala, so we're going to have more slows coming out from them. Lots of control so far. And now, of course, the Shrink Ray, which will come out from Uther. It's super standard, and it'll be really nice to be able to put that on a Kerrigan. Should she decide to Maelstrom in, she'll be slowed down and also be doing less damage. And then, of course, we have Overflowing Light and the improved Ice Block for Jaina. So that's going to help with a little bit more sustainability. If Jaina starts to get... I really like Jaina play versus Kael'thas when you pick up that Ice Block, because when you get Kael'thas to 16, if Jaina sees a big Flame Strike underneath her, she can quickly hit the Ice Block, and it's just enough time in order to stave off that Flame Strike, make sure that she doesn't get the Living Bomb applied to her, because otherwise it's like half of her health bar gone if she gets a hit like that.
It's appropriate. Ice to fire, fire to ice.
Exactly.
It works. We do see that Zeveron is really interested in this boss. They keep just hanging around here looking for the opportunity to either take it or bait Just Do It into an engagement. Just Do It, though, is at level 13, so there's no talent difference between these 2 teams. Just a slight level lead in terms of experience.
Yeah, there are the 13s as well. It looks like we do have Healing Surge. So more healing from Rhaegar, realizing that that's kind of been an issue, is that a lot of times we do see a lot of really long fights as teams are really poking back and forth around those temples, especially when we have a temple phase where there's just one temple, like the next one will most probably be. So being able to try to get more heals, also looking at picking up Hold Your Ground 2 from Johanna, so a lot more sustainability from that too. Kerrigan's going to, of course, get Sprint. You never generally take anything else for her, and then the Flamethrower for Kael'thas will start to make it a little bit easier for him to throw those out. It makes it so the range is a lot better for Flame Strike. He can just sit in the back and really easily poke, not really losing his position at all.
We do have the next temple phase starting. This time it will be the middle and bottom temples. Just Do It in a good position to take the bottom temple, but they're more interested in grabbing the middle. So as 5, they're going to run up there together. It looks like Zeveron decided to grab those siege giants so that they can do a little bit of work pushing down on the bottom while they're gone. And they're going to go up and contest this middle. It's a good play because they know that they can keep a little pressure, get a little bit of a lane presence down there in case they want to fall back and grab more shots there after they're done grabbing the middle.
Because it's middle and bottom, we probably won't see a team trying to do something crazy like get a temple and the boss, which is sometimes what happens. I think Zeveron really liked this idea of being able to grab the mid one, because that way they could make sure to go take out that mid that mid fort, and now they're starting to work on keeps, whereas Just Do It still working on forts. So they've definitely, the structure war is being won here by Zeveron. We're starting to rotate down now and keep Just Do It off. So whereas before they were willing to trade, now they're saying, no, you get neither of these. We'll take them. You're not 16. We are. And then we might even take out some of you too if you're not careful.
Ooh, the Ancestral Heal saves Killick, who might have been stunned to death, but unfortunately it doesn't last very long. Those stuns just keep coming from Zeveron. They are going to be able to take out that Johanna.
I really like the decision making from Zeveron. It's been constantly take out one person and then leave and go take objectives. They're really not concerned with, at this point, trying to take out any more than that, because they know that they, at that point, have a power play that's going to push Just Do It back enough that they can really just do whatever they want. Now they're taking both temples that are starting to work on keep level structures, and they're even getting even more ahead in experience while their opponents are just trying to catch back up to 16.
I think it was interesting that we didn't see Just Do It take advantage of the time where they could have gotten at least a few shots off on that bottom temple in the last phase, because I believe maybe they didn't have enough vision to know exactly where Zeveron was and thought they might be under attack sooner, but instead ended up just kind of wasting some time in this bottom lane. And I think that that is a real indicator of a team that has the momentum in this game, is when you're spending time not doing anything. So far, Zeveron has not had a single moment like that. Like you said, they've got this rhythm between, okay, takedown, objective, takedown, mercenary, takedown, objective. It's working for them.
Yeah, it definitely is. Another thing that's really working for them is that they've been able to match up with vision as well. The fact that they have a Zagara and they're still unsure vision-wise is never somewhere that you really want to be on a team, and that's been a great job from Equinox in being able to constantly throw out those sentinels, making sure they know where the other team is. They've also really been doing a good job of cleaning up the creep wherever they can too, as there's not a ton of it on the map. So now we're going to see Zeveron engaging in here. They've picked up the Giants. They're also throwing in, looks like a Divine Shield on Uther, who was a little bit far forward. The the Devouring Maw went down on Fury, but that's not really going to do too much, and now Kerrigan is down, so Zeveron is on the chase this time. They're saying we'll take more takedowns, as the Water Elemental has been slowing and taking down a lot of these members too. Basics taking a ton of damage. Carlton Luck was on the chase, and it looks like 3 members will go down. Uther, though, is going to get taken down, so 1 hero for 3. I think they'll take it.
Yeah, you mentioned, Gilly, that Devouring Maw. If it had been on someone other than Fury, on one of the squishies, it was also under a Phoenix. It might have done enough damage to kind of sway things in Just Do It's favor, but unfortunately, because it was Fury, he was barely even affected at all by the Phoenix, and was able to jump out of the Devouring Maw with almost full health and go right back into the fight. That means that there were 4 members of Zeveron alive to go take that boss they have been so desperately coveting, and that boss will now be pushing in the bottom lane on behalf of Zeveron.
Yeah, they've really been sitting around that boss, and this is going to be a huge time window for them to just be able to go take other advantages, because the boss, of course, does take a long time to take out. So we're going to see all of the members of Just Do It here to try to defend their keep versus it. The keep was completely open too, thanks to the fact that Zeveron was able to get both of those temples earlier, so they definitely had to defend it. Unfortunately for them, the temple that's spawning is all the way in the top, so Fury has already started taking some of the shots from this. The rest of the team is rotating down. They were kind of sniffing around those bruisers, but aren't going to go that far. They know that they've got the lead. They know that they don't have to be super aggressive. They don't have to make any risky plays. It's up to Just Do It to have to do that.
Just Do It is going to go all the way to the temple. They're going to forego grabbing those mercenaries on their side of the map, forego engaging with the members of Zeveron that were there, and just try to get some shots off on this temple, because they know they need to start taking advantage of these battleground objectives.
We're not seeing Zeveron engage just yet. I think they're trying to wait, maybe try to get somebody who's going to be out of position. But meanwhile, look at the push for them in both top and bottom. There's so many mercenary camps pushing for them. So they were completely fine with just letting Just Do It stay scared inside the temple. Yes, they got it, but they've just now gotten the forts down on the side of Zeveron. Meanwhile, this keep has been taking so much damage between the boss and the Giants that it's an easy rotation for Zeveron to come in and pick it out. And now a keep is down. Catapults will be spawning, and level 20 has been achieved by Zeveron.
Just Do It was so far out of position by being allowed to kind of take that temple that Zeveron went in a little bit blasé and ran right through the middle of their base, grabbing that bottom keep and running away unscathed.
Yeah, and that really shows that Zeveron is completely on top of it, constantly checking out the health of the structures, seeing if there's any sort of advantage they can possibly take. They rotated down and instantly took that out, not even losing a single member, and now they've got their Storm Tier talents as well. We've got a couple of bolts to keep those squishy damage dealers safe, rewinds for both Muradin and Tyrande, so a lot more stuns are on their way, and then of course Redemption for Uther. He's going to become so difficult to actually take out.
Of course. This looks really scary, although Just Do It has not been that far behind. They have consistently been about one level behind, but they are close in talent tiers. They're working on their level 20 now, so they've just got to be really conservative, make sure they don't lose anybody, try to gain experience where they can by just soaking while they defend their base. Once they get to level 20, that's the time that they want to engage, because they've got to get a really good pick in order to move out of their base and get some advantages on this map.
Zeveron are going after this keep, and they're kind of willing to take some damage from it. They might actually get into an engagement here, as Jaina is going to have to come back in. And Devouring Maw is going to go down on Uther, and instantly we see how moving in, unfortunately, he just took so much damage, he instantly went down. Uther is down, but will come right back up. Meanwhile, Rhaegar is down, so no more heals for Just Do It, as they've also lost Kael'thas. They're going to lose Zagara, most likely, as a great Lunar Flare ensures that. It's only Killik remaining, and the core, which is going down fast. I think we're going to see Zeveron take game 1.
The idea of taking out the healer, focusing the healer for Just Do It, was a good idea. Unfortunately, their level not being 20 and the fact that Mad Timmy on Uther is one of the tankiest, well, he is the tankiest support, meant that it took them a long time and a lot of energy to take him down. And in the meantime, you could look around and be like, hey, where are my teammates? Just Do It, unfortunately, did not manage to get the pick that they wanted soon enough. They paid for it with a few lives, and unfortunately will lose this game 1. Zeveron will emerge victorious 1-0.
Not only was taking out Uther rough for Just Do It, because he's very tanky, but just the fact that Zeveron had another healer in Tyrande. Yes, she doesn't have heals to the caliber of Uther, but she did take Overflowing Light, so her Light of Elune was more improved, and on top of that, she also had the Protective Shield. So Kerrigan jumped in with the Maelstrom, and she was like, fear me! And then Vala and Tyrande just stood there and dropped Hunter's Mark, and then from there, they just melted her down. So it was